Hi, Sandra. Professor Ball here. How's it going? For paper number 2, I'm going to be giving you video feedback on your essay. I don't remember if I did it for you last time as well, but the first thing I look for is MLA format. So it looks like you have all the information you need here, which is good. You have a title. Now, hopefully it's not the same title. Oh, good. Okay. So you came up with your own creative title, so that's nice as well. All right. So as people, the thought of having children has crossed our minds at least once. For some, having children is a part of life, but when your gender is labeled as required to want to have children, comma, insert that, comma, it can become a challenge to defend your rights to not want to have it. This was the case with Kristen Ryder throughout her TED Talk, and then what was the title of her TED Talk? You need that. Throughout her TED Talk, Kristen Ryder shares her stories of women battling to become surgically sterilized. Wow. Excuse me, facing constant obstacles from doctors and society's definition of a woman's role. And it's one society, so apostrophe S. Through her use of tone, research, sharing her personal story and statistics, comma, because there you have a fragment. Oops, let me bring this up here real quick, my little abbreviator. Kristen Ryder persuades her audience to not let anyone, define what roles as women we can and cannot be a part of. Good. So you set this up well, although you're missing the title of the TED Talk. You give us some background, you give us some context, then you introduce the speaker, and then you give me your thesis. So what it seems to me is you're going to talk about tone first, research second, sharing her personal story and statistics last. From the start of her presentation, Kristen Ryder demonstrates a combination of a clear yet serious tone with a sprinkle of humor when discussing the vast questions she is presented with when the topic of children comes up. So what you have here is what's called a comma splice. And I don't know why it's not working here. Hang on one second. The comma splice means you have a comma that does not belong. So just remove it. The many questions, and you don't know her, so why isn't my thing coming up? Oh, there we go. You go by her last name, by Ryder, or something about, the doctor, the writer, the lawyer, some other way to describe her. The many questions Ryder is faced with consist of, does your husband know? Do your parents know? Don't you want a family? Don't you want to leave anything behind? All these questions, however, are always leading to the inevitable, that's selfish. Oh, that's unfortunate. Through the use of humor and chuckles in between each question, Ryder proves the first part of her argument that simply being a woman does not automatically mean that you must want to have children. Good. Now just be careful with the word you here, because you're talking to the audience, and in this case the audience is me, and you're addressing me, but you're really not. You're talking about the viewers, you're talking about the audience, you're talking about fans and followers of her. So try to be a little more specific. However, all the questions that she gets are asked in regard to her actions affecting others and what they think about her decision of not having children. Combining a clear tone and sense of humor into a topic not generally open discussed, probably punctuation there, allows her to intrigue her audience as well as question the mandated roles and beliefs placed upon women. Good. So the second thing you said you're going to talk about is research. So research. Ryder emphasized belief of not wanting to have children rooted at a young age. Again, communicating her beliefs at a young age to the adults around her, and then receiving the same responses that she continued to get as an adult. Take another look at that. It doesn't sound like it's a complete sentence. However, now as an adult, she was able to consider several factors that she was not taught before, such as, comma after the before. Before, comma, such as the risk of passing on hereditary illness, the danger of having to stop life-saving medication for the duration of not my pregnancy, because I'll never be pregnant, but somebody's pregnancy. Concern about overpopulation, women's access to resources, and the fact that there are 415,000 children and the foster care system in the United States at any given time. All of these factors contributed to her decision to get surgically sterilized. In her decision, Kristen discusses the research that she completed on becoming informed on such a procedure. So that's good. So then you do talk about research with the pie paragraphs. Do you remember that, where you make your point and then you illustrate and then you explain? The point is the research, right? So you need that sentence. Hold on. You need that sentence at the beginning. So another thing that writer does to keep her audience interested is her use of research. And if this is her research, where does it come from? Where did she find it? Discuss that a little bit to have a clearly analyzed paragraph. All right. So becoming surgically sterilized is just another name for a tubal ligation, which just means, punctuation there, which just means a woman is getting her tubes tied. Yes. In her research, we're having such a procedure done, punctuation, writer presented the requirements that one must have. Such requirements for undergoing this procedure are be at least 21 years old, appear of sound mind, acting of your own accord, and have a 30-day waiting period. Though passing all of these requirements, you mean, writers still face the obstacle of finding a doctor to perform such surgery. Okay, so let me see here. Personal story. Okay, so here you need your point. Your point is her own story, right? That's at least according to your thesis. So make sure your point does that. And then with the pie, you have your explanation of whatever, of the, what do you call it? Why her personal story is important or interesting or significant. Oh, I see what you did here. Okay. I see it. You have it here. Personal experience. Personal story, okay. If this is part of the research, then this should be in the same paragraph because the rule of thumb is one idea per paragraph, so these could probably be combined. Throughout her TED Talk, writer also shares her personal experiences as she connects with her audience through her emotional and self-determined journey of becoming surgically sterilized. During her everlasting process, she discusses a negative experience she encountered with several doctors. Now you have your quotation here, but it's a hit and run. So you want to introduce the quote and then follow up with it here. And you can look at that quotation handout, but you could say something as simple as, according to her, comma, I'd blah, 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 like that. I'd come here looking for objectivity and support, and instead I felt dismissed in silence, and I hated myself for it. I hated that I was letting people disrespect me repeatedly, but this was my one shot. The speaker effectively touches her audience emotionally as one listens and steps into the shoes of a woman trying her hardest to accomplish something that anyone should have the right to decide upon. Not only does she describe her own personal struggles, but also delves into the topic of being a parent. All right, so I'm going back to your thesis here, and you say statistics is the last thing you're talking about. So let's see what you do talk about. By the way, this is a good transition. Parent here, parent there. Being a parent is not simply defined as only being biologically related to a child. Kristen demonstrates this view when discussing. Okay, so you do have statistics. Use the word statistics here, Sandra, because that's your point. 1 in 5 American women won't be having a biological child, some by choice, some by chance. Statistically demonstrating this information ties her situation with those that many women face today. I just watched a repetition here. Many women. Many women face the inability to have children as well as choosing not to. If for any reason a woman decided that she wants to have a child, but, due to circumstances she cannot physically have one, there are several options to have a child. Simply having a child is biologically is not the only way to become a parent. That is correct. And I just mentioned the repetition of the word woman, but what about child? Okay, so 16 times. So, not horrible, but it seemed like there was a lot, maybe on page, right around here in this paragraph here. Hopefully you can see that they're highlighted. If for any reason a woman decided that she wants to have a child, blah, 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 but there are several options, but there are several options to conceive. Simply procreating biologically is not the only way to become a parent. So just be careful with the repetition. Okay. And I see here that you wrapped it all up nicely. And you do respond to the assignment well, so that's good. One thing you're missing is the dates, and that is the date it was uploaded, and then the date you found it. So the date uploaded and the date accessed. Okay. So that's good. So use this feedback, Sandra, for your error log, and then possibly to help you with paper number 3. All right, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.